There is nothing more dangerous than a person with nothing to lose. I can remember the incredible frustration and anger I had with myself as my then girlfriend's ex-boyfriend stood in front of me taunting me to give him a reason to throw the first punch. He largely had done nothing with his life and felt threatened by the fact that I was now dating what he had convinced himself was still his girlfriend. I vividly remember thinking, he has nothing to lose. I, on the other hand, was in law school and had plans to start my own practice and didn't want to do anything to jeopardize that. So I stood there, like a little punk, as he saw it, doing everything in my power to keep the situation from escalating, and walked away. Not because I didn't want to hurt him, or that I couldn't. It's because I had a responsibility to myself to make sure I didn't do anything that would jeopardize my future in an attempt to assert my manhood to someone who would largely not be very impressed anyway. Now take that responsibility I felt that night and multiply it by 30. And that's the way I felt the first time I put that gun in my pants and walked out of the door as a newly licensed concealed handgun carrier. It doesn't hit you until you step into the world with 15 rounds, sandwiched between a pair of overpriced denim, covered by a cheap H&M t-shirt, that you realize that you are forever going to be held to a higher standard wherever you go. When you carry a gun, you're no longer normal. You're not only a potential savior, but you're also a potential liability. There's no room for complacency or recklessness. As long as you have something to lose, that gun owns you. It dictates what you do, how you do it, when you do it, and where. Guns are cool. They're sexy, they're fun, entertaining, empowering, and fascinating. But all of that takes a backseat to carrying and owning a gun responsibly. If you don't get that or understand it, then your ass shouldn't carry, much less own a gun.
You're a really big proponent for concealed carry for self-defense purposes.
Yes, I am.
Why?
Because it's one of those things where when you look at reality, because we're forced to live in reality, I know a lot of people try to run away from reality, but reality is reality. There's something about being able to have in your possession that it's such a minor inconvenience. It's nothing for me to wake up in the morning, grab my keys, grab my wallet, throw my gun on my hip and go about my day.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people that wouldn't see it that way. I mean, okay, even people can be gun owners, right? And then the concealed part just not fit into their lifestyle.
Absolutely.
Because of what you're just talking about, the responsibility, the weight that comes with that. You know, I see it from, I personally don't have my concealed handgun license yet. I'm actually gonna be getting it because the more I've thought about this. So I had a gun for self-defense reasons in my home. I guess I just thought about it more being in my house because I didn't want to have to rely on the police officers. I didn't want to have to rely on anybody else if we're there by, you know, if I'm home by myself. But I don't know, maybe I've lived in a bubble and just never really thought a whole lot of it outside of my house. But, you know, being around you guys, it's not that I'm paranoid now. It's just you've made me more aware that, no, you need to take responsibility for your protection, whether you're inside your house or outside of it.
And you know what's funny about that? I carry a gun on me probably 80 to 90% of the time in my life. And for some people who aren't really into firearms or kind of anti-gun or just kind of like little squeamish, they're like, I'd be the first to tell you, the likelihood of me having to use that gun ever is probably slim to none. I haven't had to. I haven't ever had to draw it or pull it. I've been in situations where I almost had to, but it worked out.
Yeah, that's good.
So then the question becomes, why even bother then? If the chances and the percentages are so minor, why even bother? Well, because the 1% when it does happen, everything matters.
Yeah.
Now, that's not my personal quote. I can't remember where I got it from. It was either Travis Haley or Chris Costa, but they said it, and it resonated with me. And I always believed it, but you know, they say hindsight is everything, you know?
Sure.
And in hindsight, it clicked. I was like, yeah, you know what, you're right.
Yeah.
Because that 1% is the most important. You go your entire life never encountering anything.
Yeah.
That 1% that you do, and you don't have what you need to take care of it, everything that happened before then means nothing.
I'm actually excited to get my CHL, and I'm really excited to go shopping for a gun. I know I tell you that I wouldn't really enjoy shopping, but I think as soon as I get my, license, I'm gonna be so excited to go and pick out my gun.
And you know what's funny about that? Some people look at you and be like, that's lunacy. Like you're a sociopath.
Why?
Because the thought of going out and buying a gun so that you can carry it on you everywhere you go, they're like, why would you want to do that?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, like you said, in case you find yourself in a situation where blowing a whistle is not really going to help you a whole lot, you know?
Well, I think also what it stems from is, and I've noticed this, there's been this real subtle push for the vilification of self-defense. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you can defend yourself, but not too much. You know, like the idea of taking someone's life in order to defend yours is almost seen as taboo. Like, oh my God, like I wouldn't be willing to kill anyone to protect your life, to protect your kid's life. Like, you know, and then you start going down the road and they start talking about, well, you're just paranoid.
Yeah.
It's not about paranoia.
Well,
It's about what happens in reality. And like I said before, for me, it's a small price to pay to just put a gun in my pants, go about my life, so that in the event I find myself in that 1% situation, I have something there that I can do about it, you know?
Well, cool. Well, just before we move on, I mean, I like that we brought this up. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to check out NRAsharp.com. It's the super blog that we were talking about a couple weeks ago. But Nikki Turpot, she's actually one of the NRA commentators for us. She is now doing a column online. She's going to be hitting on different things involving self-defense. And, you know, she had some really good things to say. So if you guys get a chance, check that out. And then also, both of us have some columns,
we write our columns as well on a weekly basis. Sometimes I will touch on a self-defense aspect of it. I like to incorporate a lot of things that happen in my life on a regular basis into what I write about. So sometimes it will touch that. Sometimes it will touch on more superficial things. Sometimes it touches on more serious things. It's multifaceted.
And I'm writing a little bit more on the fashion aspect, so I don't know if I'll ever be hitting on self-defense, but if that's what you're looking for, you guys can check that out on NRAsharp.com.
Absolutely.